What's going on today, Internet? Selfish from Retrospect, and we're going to take a look at something I've been waiting for 6 to 8 months for since I pre-ordered the limited run CRKD Nitro Deck. Alright, so it comes in a nice little box. This was actually in another box, but it's pretty boring. So get rid of that top. Take a look and see what it's all about. Limited edition. Look at that. Start here. Sounds good. Oh, that's to get the app. They have an app to tell you how limited yours is. So one of how many ever that there are. All right, here we go. So up here you've got a USB Type-C cable. Then you also have some buttons, button tops. So these here are for the button tops. I'll show you that later in the video. All right, limited run. Welcome to the family. Sweet. We have one of these word books. There's a lot of stuff in here. I'm pretty sure I can figure out how to use it without it though. And here she is. Wow, that's a nice looking. That's really nice looking. Ooh, buttons feel better than the original Switch buttons, that's for sure. I mean, just even in size, like if you look at the difference here in the size of the buttons, it is insane. All right. So that looks pretty good. We'll start, where do we want to start? You want to start at the bottom? There's nothing on the bottom. This thing has absolutely nothing on the bottom. Well, you can see through it, but there's nothing down there. We'll go to the back real quick. On the back, you have 4 extra buttons, which is fantastic for a device like this. You also do have a kickstand. And then you also have your release switch right here. This release switch is how you get your Switch back out. That's what holds onto it. And when it's in there, it actually isn't hard to push at all. Down here you have a program button, and that program button is so you can program these keys or any of the other keys on here. You also have an input, and that is for your charger, your Type-C charger, and then you have an output. And if you use this output, you can do one of 2 things. You can either use this as your controller, or you can plug this into your dock and actually run it, well, as almost like a Wii U controller, and you would be able to see the picture on your TV without taking it out of this case, which is a really good idea. I don't think anybody's thought of one of these yet, or I think all of us have thought of it, but nobody's actually done one of these yet, where you're actually able to leave it in the case. Another thing you have on this device is a reset button, so if it gets all gunked up, you're able to reset it. Look at the top here, we have our shoulder buttons. A little bit clicky, but not super clicky. They're pretty soft, actually. They feel pretty good. They're actually almost sticky because of the coating on them. I'm pretty sure this is probably just on this edition of it, because this one has this goofy coating. On the front here, you've got your select and start buttons. You do have your joysticks, which are wider than a traditional Switch joystick. They feel a lot nicer. They also do have removable caps. All you do is give it a little twist, and you can remove the cap. These ones are pretty cool. I don't know if you can see them, but they are limited run caps. So I don't know, I might leave these on, or I might use some other ones. We'll see, and they just pop right back on just like that. X, Y, A, B, and they feel pretty good. You have your D-pad, which feels pretty good, right? Okay, and then this is your button for when you put into programming mode, so you can kind of see what's going on. This will change different colors, and we'll take a look at that when we get the Switch put into here. I know one thing that a lot of people have talked about is the distance between the right joystick and the B button, but if you actually look at a real Joy-Con, they actually have more distance, I believe. I can't find my little calibrator, otherwise I'd take a look at it, but I'm pretty sure there's actually more distance, but it's harder to tell because the buttons are so small on the original Switch Joy-Cons. Next we're going to do is we're going to take off this plastic here. Whew, that was tricky. Now we're going to take my Switch out of what is my favorite way to play it so far, is the Satisfy grip. I love the Satisfy grip. We have 3 of them. I've got 2 different Switches that I use them on, and then I got one for my son. He's got a Satisfy grip as well. Now we're going to put it right in here. So this is how easy this is. So you have your Switch, and you just slide her right in, and she locks into place. And there you go. One thing you do want to do before you put this in is make sure your Switch is actually set up in Pro Controller wired mode, so that you're able. This will just immediately, if you do that, it will immediately know that this controller, it thinks it's a Pro controller. Pretty sweet. So these are already sort of set up, these back buttons, but again, you can reprogram them. You can also set them with the turbo, right? And then you can set up macros. So if you need a jump macro or something like that, you are able to do stuff like that as well. I honestly haven't played my Switch in a while, so we'll let this thing update and then we will get back to it.
2 hours later.
Okay, we're back. So I think I can play my Switch again. We'll give it a shot, see what happens here. I hadn't played my Switch in so long that it needed a whole bunch of updates, and that is my fault. I didn't even think about that before I decided to start filming today. I haven't played my Switch in a while. I have so many emulators, and I really like the old school stuff. And the thing is, even on the Switch, you can play emulators, but I've got hundreds of games on Switch. And don't worry, I paid for them all, but I tend to play with them on my emulators now. A lot of my Switch time is done on my Odin, just because that device is so versatile. I can use it for pretty much anything. I really wish that they kept making Skyline, though. So I do have a couple things to say here now that I died, because this isn't really a gameplay video anyways. It is a weird little bit of a gap here between this B button, even though it is almost exactly lined up to the same as the Switch. These buttons are bigger, so it just feels different. I tend to play with my like weird spot on my hand, like right here, so it really doesn't make that much of a difference to me. It's like on this side too, I have that same problem where I play on that side. So if I'm playing like my G Cloud, I actually keep hitting, there's like a little menu button up here on X Cloud, and I'll kick myself out of games all the time. I'll be in the middle of doing a race or something with somebody online on Need for Speed, and the next thing you know, I'm on my main menu. I do have one bit of bad news about this though. I mean, honestly, if I have to say anything, I never played my Switch handheld until I got the Satisfy grip, and I really love that grip, and it's the only reason why I ever even got into playing Switch handheld. And now, it's likely I'll never use that grip again, and I have 3 of them. And if I can make a recommendation to Nintendo, this right here, with your Switch 2 or whatever you want to call it when it comes out, this is a really good thing to model it after as far as the feel for it. This does feel a lot like a Steam Deck. I don't have one, but this definitely feels a lot like one. I've held plenty of them since they came out, and this does feel a lot like a Steam Deck. If I had to give you advice on the device itself, what I would do is put in the more new Switch style kickstand. This is a little bit obnoxious. If you look, even the Legion is coming out with a Switch style kickstand. It's just more stable. I have seen these broken already online with people doing reviews on them, and they get them and they break, or they're broken when they pull them out of the box where they won't actually push back down. Not an issue here. So like I was saying, this is really easy to do. All you gotta do is tap this button up and it's already released. There's really nothing to it. Some people are saying they don't like pushing on the OLED screen. These things are made to be beat up. I mean, these are really devices for kids, and I get that it's an OLED screen, but it's not a TV in your pocket. These things take a pretty good licking, and you really aren't pushing that hard. So in conclusion, this is the answer I was looking for. I was really close with the Satisfy grip, but it just wasn't quite there. Even though this thing weighs about twice as much as that grip does, in fact, the grip itself weighs more than the Switch, I think. This is going to get me to play my Switch a lot more, which is great. I feel like there's gonna be less fatigue with this than there was with some of the other things. The Satisfy grip did really well with that too. It just didn't feel quite the same. The ergonomics actually are probably a little better on that, but then you're still stuck using the Joy-Cons, which is the biggest problem. And these Joy-Cons right here have Hall effects, and they're bigger and taller. These swappable buttons are nice too, so you can actually put different size ones on top too, so you could really get a lot more mileage out of something like this. That's where I stand. I kind of wish that I would have ordered the green and the purple one instead of just the purple one, since it was a limited edition through limited run. But hey, I got what I got, and I'm glad that I did. Is the Nitro Deck something you would use? Leave a comment down below. Also, like and share this video, because sharing helps grow the channel. And I'm more of a grower than a shower. Thanks for watching. I'm out. For those of you guys that follow me on the socials, I do appreciate it, and I am almost done putting my desk together. I'm only waiting for a couple more things, so we should be back into close to production here pretty quick. So thank you for sticking around and helping. There goes my dog.